Well, hello everyone. I'm out here on the Stones River where you've seen me record content from a lot if you've followed me for any length of time, because I come down here, I walk along here in the mornings now before the sun comes up, and I've spent a lot of time here connecting with a lot, you know. I spend a lot of time here to connect with myself. I've spent time here connecting with other people. I've spent time here connecting with the spirit and spirits that reside here permanently and that come through here. Rivers are very important for me, at least this river is. But bodies of water, especially moving bodies of water, it moves things and brings things that need to be brought and moves things that need to be moved, and that's what life's about, you know. Life's about movement. Life's about progression. Life's about growth. And I'm moving along. I'm moving on with what you see on Facebook and what you see on YouTube and what you see on Instagram, because I've come to a conclusion that I'm not what these platforms are for. I'm not an entertainer. I don't do things to entertain people. I'm not using my beliefs, my heritage to make people laugh. And that's not what these platforms are. You know, these platforms are for that. These platforms are for distracting people from reality. And there are a few people out here that have gotten really good at somehow being able to connect with people on a larger scale. They have a huge interaction percentage. Their engagement is very high when it comes to education and when it comes to all of that. And I'm not one of them. And that's okay. I'm fine with that. You know, I'm okay with doing what I do and not getting engagement for it. I'm at peace with that. You know, the numbers don't lie. A lot of people would look at what I do and see the numbers that are associated with my followers and go, well, man, you are making a big difference. You know, there's a lot of people that follow you. And that's just simply not true. You know, if you see 39,000 followers on my Facebook page, you know, the percentage of people that actually see what I do is less than 1%. If you see 6,500 subscribers on YouTube, there is less than 1% of that interaction going on and engagement going on my YouTube channel. You see, you know, 1.4 thousand followers on Instagram, there's like 1% of that follower that, you know, those followers that are interacting and engaging with what I do. And I'm done with it. I'm done with it. You know, I've been doing content creation in the form of podcasting for 6 seasons, 6 years. I've been a heathen for 10. And, you know, there's enough, I've got enough information, I've got enough content, crumbs, you know, clues. If you're trying to pursue this path, if you're trying to get involved with heathenry to some degree, there's nothing more that I can do on these superficial platforms to draw new people in. The most engagement that I ever get is when I put satirical stuff out here. You know, when I put out things that mean absolutely jack squat when it comes to learning or whatever. You can get your entertainment from anybody else, not from me anymore. I don't want to I don't want to use the energy that I put out into what I'm believing in, what I'm studying, to be mocked, because that's the other high percentage of the interactions that I get is from people that want to make fun of or mock my beliefs. I don't go on other platforms and mock what other people believe. And it could be said that, well, that's part of the hazards of being on the internet, Jesse. You're gonna ruffle feathers, you're gonna gain attention or garner attention from the types that you don't want to, and that's just part of being on the internet. 100%. I'm not disputing that. But I am also aware that I have a choice on whether or not I want to give space to that on my platforms, or through my content. Obviously, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, these are platforms that are owned and operated by bigger corporate entities and individuals that have a following on these platforms are fortunate enough to be given that space, and I guess they've done enough of the right things to be able to be successful at it. But so I'm not here to talk about the ins and outs of being a content creator, and what I'm here to talk about is me as a heathen and a heathen on the internet. A lot of you have connected with me because of social media. A lot of you have been, some of you have said that I've helped you, that I've given some sort of direction for you to follow, and that you've been benefited from seeing what I do. And I appreciate that, and I'm glad for that. But it's time for this ship to sail. I have to take care of myself, and the way that looks for me at this time is to stop posting on social media, on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Does that mean that I'm going to stop posting on what I do as far as the podcast goes? No. If you see this video and you think that what I do has any sort of meaning, if it's important, you can find me on Patreon. That is where I will be posting the podcast. That is where I will be posting highlights and clips for the podcast. But the full version of the podcast will be behind the vault, as it were, when you join my Patreon for a $1 fee. It's a $1 pledge of support. Fee kind of makes it sound transactional, but it's a pledge of support. It is 100% voluntary. If you think that what I do is meaningful, then you think that it is worth at least $1. So if you want to watch the full versions of these shows and see what I talk about in full length with either myself or guests included, that's where you're going to have to do it. And that's the way it's been for some time, but I'm not going to be posting on Facebook anymore. I don't get any interaction as it is, and when I do, it's when I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? Why aren't I getting interaction? And then people come out of the woodwork and try to explain and give reasons as to why. Well, that's a waste of my time, because I already know these things. You guys know where to find me. Patreon.com/Midgard Musings. You can listen to the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts. But when it comes to sharing it across social media, I'm done. I'm done with it. I'm not going to terminate the pages or the accounts. I'm not going to disable them. I'm not going to take them away. It'll still be up here. But by the time y'all see this video, this will be the last video that I post about on any of the 3 platforms that I mentioned. So, that's it. And that's the way it's going to be. I appreciate the support that those of you who have been with me along this journey for the last however long whether it's been since it started or whether it's been 6 years. You've got, if for whatever reason I'm the one that you want to refer to or refer people to, you got backlog of information to go back through, and I'm not the one that, I'm not the only one out here, guys. There's plenty of people out here that are doing stuff, that are doing good things, and figure it out for yourselves. Don't let me or anybody else on the internet tell you who to listen to or who not to listen to. Stop listening to others and listen to yourselves. Figure it out for yourselves. If it speaks to you, then figure out why it speaks to you. And if it challenges you, sit with that, work with that challenge, and see if it's meant to be a lesson for you on how not to be, or if it's meant to push you out of your comfort zone to become better. I'm sick of people telling others, that you shouldn't listen to this author, or you shouldn't watch this content creator because of this thing, that, or the other, and all these so-called social justice warriors and stuff. I said something the other day to somebody, and they said, you can't say that nowadays, and it was just a word. It wasn't even a slur. It wasn't a derogatory word. It was a word. We were talking about the restaurant Cracker Barrel, and I was making a joke, and it was, oh, your face is a Cracker Barrel. You're a Cracker Barrel. And they're like, hey, you can't say that. That's a slur. And I'm like, you know what? This weakness is sickening, and that wasn't even on social media, but this is just how people are. People, I say a word out here at one point in time, and somebody's gonna flip their shit because I said a word, and I'm not putting myself in that pool of people anymore. I've largely withdrawn myself out of the in-person stuff because of all the drama that people want to, you want anything, come to me. Or tell me where I can come to you, and I'll meet you one-on-one, we can talk or whatever. But I'm not going to be out here in these pagan circle jerks anymore, just for the sake of, we've lost our way. I found mine. I know where my place is, and I know where my way is. And you want to get a hold of me directly. But I'm not going to be worrying about responding to comments and engaging with people that have absolutely nothing to do with my life and in my path and my practice anymore. What I do takes energy, it takes work, and I'm applying that energy and applying that work where it's meaningful for me, and I'm not giving it out to people for them to just abuse and misuse and mistreat and make light of. So this video is probably longer than it needed to be to say all that. But again, this is goodbye. Goodbye Facebook. Goodbye YouTube. Goodbye Instagram. If you want to follow me and you want to support what I do, patreon.com/Midgard Musings. Become a Carl tier patron for a $1 pledge. Thank you for your support over the years, and I hope you all do well and be well. Take care of yourselves, take care of your own. All right. See you around.